Hi, and welcome to another edition of Northeast Current. I'm your host, Tony Schwartz, today, and we've got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about a very interesting project, a project that expands through 3 different counties, something called the Rails to Trails project. Did I get that right, ladies?
That's right.
And here to talk about the Rails to Trails project, a little bit of history, as well as some upcoming events, is Lynn Conrad and Deb McNamara. Correct?
Correct.
Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell the folks at home who may not know anything about the Rails to Trails project a little bit about its history and what it's all about?
Okay. Our organization is called the Rail Trail Council of Northeastern Pennsylvania. We are a nonprofit that started in 1991. So we're looking towards our 25th year.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to purchase an old rail bed, the Delaware and Hudson rail bed. And that is the section that runs from just above Carbondale, near Simpson, all the way to the New York border. And it starts in Lackawanna County, it goes through Susquehanna, follows the eastern border of Susquehanna County, and it goes in and out of Wayne in a few places. So we were able to buy 38 miles from actually 2 owners of continuous rail bed. And we are turning that into a public recreational trail, mostly for biking, hiking, nature study. It runs along the Lackawanna River, it runs along the Starrucka Creek, it runs along the Susquehanna River once you get up into near the New York border. So we are attracting a lot of different interest groups. It is also used for snowmobiling in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So as an organization, we have been trying to find funding, of course, to help us out. We do use federal funding. The Federal Highway Administration has to set aside a certain proportion of their highway dollars for these non-traditional means of travel. So we were lucky to get enough money to help purchase, to design, and to do some construction on this rail bed.
So a few questions running through my mind right now, so maybe someone at home as well. When you say you purchased 38 miles of rail bed, did it still have the rails and the ties? Did you have to renovate this
Yes.
38 miles?
No, it was already demolished of rails, ties, and even the ballast, that heavy stone, was taken. So it was already, pretty much just like a dirt road.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, what we're trying to do is get funding to improve it so that the drainage is controlled and a new surface is put down. So on those 38 miles, we have now resurfaced 10.
Okay.
10 miles. And that section runs from just below Forest City to Herrick Center, which is above Uniondale.
Mm-hmm. And when you say resurface, what kind of surface are we talking?
It's a crushed stone. It's called a stone dust surface.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fine. It packs down nice and hard.
It's almost like sand.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does get a little soft when it rains, but once it's dry, it's a nice, firm, packed surface.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, one of our funding sources is the Federal Highway Administration. Those are very difficult grants to come by, very competitive. So we also use state funding. Our State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources provides funding for such projects. So we were also lucky enough to get some funding for that. So we are now, like I said, we have 10 miles done. We hope to do another 6 miles with another grant that we have. And our rail bed has 7 railroad bridges.
Really?
So one of our goals is to make sure that they're all safe and usable. We had decked them with wood once we got started, but now the wood just didn't last. So now we're redecking all of our railroad bridges with concrete.
Wow.
So of the 7, we have 4 done, and this year we hope to do 3 more, with funding from Pennsylvania DCNR, and also there's a new funding source called the Marcellus Shale Legacy Fund. So some of our gas drilling money is going into that fund, and we're able to apply for it.
Which is great, because, I mean, in these times that we're in right now, it's very hard to get funding for anything. So
Yes, yes.
This is great that you're being able to move forward with this. Deb, what's going on with you? What's your part in all this?
Well, I'm the program manager for Rail Trail, and my part of it is to help define programs to attract the community to the trail, because the trail it's great to finish the trail, but without people on it, we're finishing it for nothing. So we're always trying to get people out there using the trail. It's a great resource, and it's also such an historic pathway. So we're trying to attract people to the trail all the time, and we wanted to talk a little bit about one of our next upcoming events, June 21st, which is Art on the Trail. And Art on the Trail is a program where we try to connect the community, the local community, to the trail. So our headquarters is in Uniondale, Pennsylvania, and Uniondale is a very rural area. Once it was very farm-based, but now I think it's a surprise to many people that there are a lot of really talented artists living in close proximity to the trail. So we do a day of celebrating art and the people who live along the trail. So we have a full day of events. We start with a bike ride in the morning, and then we do a historic walk of Uniondale with a local historian, and we do a program with a local photographer who does a children's photography class. We take people to the rivers and streams along the trail and show them what lives in a healthy river. We call that Let's Get Wet. We do a full day of activities, including highlighting over 25 local arts and crafts people. So they show their work and they sell their work, and they get a chance to help promote the trail and their own businesses. So it's June 21st, and it's all day. It's from 10 to 4, and we're hoping that we can get more people come out and join us this year.
Do you have a website?
We do.
Where people can go and find some of this information? Because it's not the only event you have. I know you have,
Right.
We were talking before we got on camera, you have a lot of events throughout the year. What is your website address so that the folks at home know where to go to look for this information?
Well, our website is www.nepa-rail-trails.org.
So the actual event, Art on the Trail, is the art actually on the trail, or is the art being displayed somewhere else?
It's actually being displayed somewhere else. We show the art in 4 historic buildings. Our office, which is over 100 years old, it's a cable store. It's been a store in the village of Uniondale forever. So
I know where that store is.
Have you?
Up that hill behind the church?
Yes, with the green awning out front. And it's, we were very proud to be able to purchase that a few years ago, and it's now our headquarters. Plus, on the first floor, there's also a deli, Cable's Deli, and it's a great community asset. So we are showing work in our studio. We're showing work in Bob Stark's studio, which is called Susquehanna Studios. Bob has painted and lived in the area over 40 years, and he's an amazing help to us during this event. He is a very talented local artist himself, but he also generously donates his property. So we use a studio and a mill, a very old historic mill behind his studio, to show art. And we also use a local Masonic hall. It's
The Phoenix
the
Club.
Phoenix Club, right? And they also donate their historic building to us. So we're showing it's all in Uniondale, and it's all in close proximity to the trail. But we're actually showing the work in 4 historic buildings.
So rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
The art is, of course, all in buildings, or we also put up some tents.
Okay, so rain or
Right.
shine, we want to make that clear. If
That's
it's
right.
raining, still come
Oh,
on
still
out.
come.
Right,
If
and
it's-
there'll be a chicken barbecue
There'll be a
as
chicken
well.
barbecue.
Yes.
Cable's Deli will do a chicken barbecue, which is very well received every year. They do a delicious barbecue with sides, and we sell tickets in advance, which you can purchase at our office or at the deli. And can you think of anything else?
Right. No, and during our historic tour of Uniondale, you'll find out what all those buildings were used for in the past. And they're all related to the stream that runs behind our buildings. It's a very steep stream with a lot of waterfalls that ran a lot of mills, and different industries relied on that stream. So the history of Uniondale is also fascinating.
And we have a local historian, Patricia Peltz, who will lead that walk and tell us all about it.
Great. That's great. And how is the public support and use? I mean, are people using the trail?
Yes, they are.
I would imagine it's big in the winter with snowmobilers.
It is if it's a good winter. This winter was a good winter for snowmobiling. Last year wasn't.
Right.
So it's almost everything we do is weather dependent, especially in the winter for our winter events. But we do have a lot of people out on the trail. We would like to have more, and the further north you get on our trail, probably the fewer people you'll see. But in the Forest City area, there's quite a few people on the trail every day, and we have a lot of runners, bikers, hikers, dog walkers. It is used. Is it used as much as we'd like it to be? No, but that's why we're trying to promote these events.
Right, right. Including a half marathon we were talking about
Yes.
earlier. And what month is that in?
That's in September. It's September 7th, and it is our 7th year running the half marathon. Last year we had over 280 runners and a host of sponsors, and it is our major fundraiser of the year.
You got a half marathon there. I know the Steamtown Marathon starts in Forest City. All these running events
Right.
happening right there in the Forest City Simpson area.
Right. We actually time our marathon as a companion run for Steamtown. So you want people who are training to run a marathon want to do the half marathon distance 4 weeks before, and that's exactly when our run is. So we have a lot of people who are using it as a training run for Steamtown.
So that works out perfectly. What's some of the things you'll see along the trail? If somebody goes out hiking on the trail, what are they going to see?
Well, Lynn and I...
We know they'll see some train bridges, maybe, right?
Oh, some
Right,
beautiful
right.
train bridges that run over the Lackawanna River, some beautiful sights of the river. But Lynn and I were on the trail last week, and we ran into a beautiful black bear with 3 cubs. And
I don't know if
that was
that's a good thing or not.
Oh,
but-
she was more afraid of us than we
Really?
were of her.
She took off way before we got to her.
Uh-huh.
So it's not a dangerous situation. But you'll see deer, and you'll see people walking their dogs, and you'll see beautiful scenery, and river, and the Lackawanna River, and bridges.
Yes, we're lucky to be along the Lackawanna River, which is, very scenic. It drops in elevation quickly, so there's a lot of places where there are falls and pools. We do open the trail for fishing access for like 5 weeks. And so there is a lot of fishermen that are using the trail right now. Then the gates will close and they will have to walk in to...
Oh, so you let them drive
Yes, we
down the
actually
trail?
let them drive on a short section of trail, and we have it signed so that you are aware that there are people out there going fishing. And they are very respectable people, and we work with the Fish and Boat Commission, and they do stock the river. Because they're finding a lot of places have, closed their doors because of private property issues to any stocking along different streams. But something you'll see, you'll see eagles possibly, because along Stillwater Dam, there is an eagle's nest. So that's one of our resident eagles is being watched on a regular basis. They've been there for a couple years now, and they are now nesting, and they just had their young. We are trying to get some historical interpretive signage, little by little. We are. In the Forest City area, you'll see signage regarding coal mining and railroading and acid mine drainage, water that comes up out of the mine pool, and why that is. We did a stream bank restoration project, and we have a sign indicating how we did that and how it helped the trail. So that section of trail is very interesting because of the closeness of the river, I think.
How can the public get involved? How can the public help your organization besides just using the trail?
Right.
I'm guessing that there must be times when you need volunteers to help with stuff.
Yes.
So
Volunteers.
what is it that a volunteer can do for the trail project?
Yeah, Debbie's our volunteer coordinator as well.
Well, yeah, and
I was hoping that she was going to let you talk again,
All
Debbie,
right.
because she hasn't stopped. That's why I got you to talk a little
There
bit.
we
in the middle.
go.
I know. So go ahead, Debbie. Tell us about the volunteer programs.
Well, volunteers are the backbone of our organization. Lynn and I are actually the only paid employees. So we're talking about events that run through the entire year. They take a tremendous amount of volunteer effort. Our half marathon alone takes 100 volunteers to
Wow.
run. It's really labor intensive. So we're always looking for volunteers. We advertise our events in our quarterly newsletter and ask for people to call and volunteer for that. If you want to volunteer, you just need to contact our office. You can either call us or you can email us. Our email address is trails@nep.net. And we're always looking for volunteers. We just did a big cleanup on Saturday, and it was totally volunteer. Almost everything we do is totally volunteer. As a matter of fact, our D&H distance run is 100% volunteer effort. There is no money paid to anyone. All of that money goes back into trail maintenance.
Sounds like you two ladies, along with all your volunteers, are doing some great work with an old rail bed for the community and the people within that community. Keep that up. And if you people at home would like to become part of their project, visit that website or give them a call at that number or email them at that email address and become part of this. It's a great community project that you can be a part of. So, June 21st?
June 21st.
What?
10 to 4.
10 to 4?
Art on the Trail.
Art on the Trail. I'm going to be there. I think you should be there. I know those two are going to be there. Let's all be there June 21st for Art on the Trail. Don't go away, though. I want to thank you, ladies, for being on the show today. Come back next time. You have some great projects going on with the Trail Project.
Thank you.
Don't you go away, because we have a lot more coming to you on Northeast Current right after these messages.